It's time to go nuclear. Welcome back to Captain of Industry, where I've continued to make progress, of course, and including over here we have started to build a gigantic nuclear facility. I mean, I say gigantic, but it's basically almost the smallest one you can do. I'll explain everything about it, of course, in this episode. Don't hesitate to check in the video description below if you want to see the full playlist, because we're playing Update 2 that just released in a custom map that I created, where I have these small islands in the middle, and now we made bridges to go, to those bigger islands. We have a lot of progress. We have, a bus over here, etc. Since the end of the last episode, we've also made a couple of research, in particular over here. We got a bit more vehicles. We also unlocked actually mega vehicles. I'm going to show you that in a second. We have unlocked nuclear, right? That's uranium enrichment and nuclear reactor. We did also do electric boiler and wastewater treatment. Wastewater treatment is actually really necessary. You don't really have a choice, you need it. On the other hand, electric boiler, you could do without, but we did it too. So yeah, we got a bit more vehicles. Now it's 160. So I created even more, right? We have now more than 130 trucks. And we have also unlocked, level 3 of vehicles. So you cannot actually upgrade the vehicle depot level 2, you need to build a bigger one. It's over here, it's a level 3 and it's huge, as you can see, right? There's also this small thing in this small clearing in the front, right? Similar to level 2 at the bottom, you can deliver directly the resources. And then with this, we're gonna be able to make a couple of new ones. First, we have the mega excavator. Instead of a normal excavator, it's a mega one. This is going to be consuming, of course, even more, but it can also dig more, right? It can go dig 60 in one swoop versus this one is only 20. Then we have those two new trucks. One is for haul truck dump and one is for haul truck tanks. So tank is for fluid, right? Think about water or diesel. And then the dump one is for loose product, right? So it's actually things like coal or, it could also be the food like potatoes. But there is no haul truck or gigantic mega truck, right? For the unit products. So things, for example, like the iron, copper, right? Or even some of your food like fruit and vegetables. This doesn't work in those big ones. So make sure that you don't upgrade, all of your truck. My 134, I shouldn't upgrade all of them to that big level, right? I need to keep a couple of these to focus on those transportation. And then to make those vehicles, we're gonna need also a new part, vehicle parts level 3, which is basically vehicle parts level 2 with a bit of electronics. I don't know if I have the space there. I mean, I guess I will have the space because I'm gonna have to delete this one. Or maybe we are going to delete this and put all of this somewhere here. We'll do it probably in the next episode. In this episode, I really wanted to focus on nuclear. You may remember in the last episode, we started to have a bit of problem with electricity, even if we had quite a big one, right? We had those 3 layers, or to say differently, 5 boilers, making a lot of steam for electricity, but that was starting to run out, right? We were getting to around 40, that was starting to run out. Now we have built over here nuclear. I have built for now, I have blueprinted 2. I have only built 1 for now, and I've also only put it at level 1. You can go up to level 3, I'm gonna explain in a second. Now, in terms of the blueprint, as I said, I have obviously blueprinted it, so you'll be able to find it in my Discord community. It is, as you saw, quite big, and it costs quite a lot, even if it's less than the diesel one we made a couple of episodes ago. Right? This is a bit more than 1,000 of the part level 1 and level 2. It is also almost 2,500 of level 3 and almost 3,000 of level 4. So that's quite expensive. Plus also a lot of electronics, as you can see, almost 2,100. So yeah, it's a very costly one. Now let me show you what's happening, starting as always, with the cargo depot. It's gonna bring uranium. You can see actually I have some over here, uranium ore. Now the thing is, you will not be able to find uranium on your island. You have to go into the world map to find some. There's one mine, it's over here. You can see it is just at level 2, so 50 people, less than 1 of Unity. It's producing already 60 per minute, and that can last me almost 2,000 years. So we have some time before we have a problem there. And then with those 60, I can actually make quite a lot, because I'm not even using 60, I'm using 36. For this whole thing it's gonna be 36, right? So basically with the 60 I could almost double the whole thing. But yeah, we have the uranium that's arriving here. Of course the boat will require a bit of diesel, so we have this pipe there. with a fluid storage where we're saying bring me some diesel. It's bringing it from quite far, right, from the other side of the map, but that's one of the few things that this requires to function. Then next to it we have my water facility, and this water is the first one where we're using actually those electric boilers. Instead of using the boilers that we already had, either the normal one that's usually using coal or those gas ones that are usually using things hydrogen or fuel gas, we are going to use this new one, the electric boiler. Why? Because basically it doesn't require anything. It's just going to transform the water directly into steam. It does cost, maintenance level 2 and also does construction part level 4, the purple one, but most importantly the big thing is it costs a lot of electricity, right? 8 megawatts for just this boiler. The reason I did want it again is because that way I don't need to bring coal, which would be probably from far. It can really be independent. And I wanted this to be independent because it's my electricity production, right? If that fails, everything fails. So I wanted to make sure that this almost cannot fail with this. And also because now with this, we're creating a lot more energy. So, I was happy to use some of this energy for it. But yeah, with this, we're gonna basically use a bit of water to make our steam. And then with this steam, we're gonna be able to make more water. And so the water then goes back into it, right? So it's water positive, no problem. I did have to, at the beginning, bring just a bit of water to prime it as always, right? But that was all. So it's the same as always, we're taking seawater from the sea, it goes into the thermal desalinator, we're transforming the seawater plus steam into water and brine. We have the water, that's over here. It goes into this pipe balancer first, where I'm saying that, the priority is to go back into the system, but otherwise, you can go all the way over here. I'll talk about it in the future. And then we have the brine, that's at level 1, where basically I'm saying the priority is actually this one here, to go into this wastewater treatment, and then the rest can be dumped into the sea. So we have those 3 over here that are dumping brine. And by the way, you may see over here that I have 1 that's dumping water. This is actually also a bit of a fail-safe. So what this means is that I'm always going to be making a bit of water over here, which means I'm always going to make a bit of brine to make sure that this never has, no brine. It's a bit of a fail-safe, as I said, right? So it consumes basically a bit more energy than it should because I'm always dumping a bit of water. Now, actually, I say always. It's not actually always, but it's basically always. So it will first go into my system, but if there is more, it can go there. And then you can see there is one final stuff water pipe here, which is this wastewater treatment. With the brine, we're actually making water, so we need to make sure that this is used, and that's why it is the prioritized one. Now, what is this wastewater treatment for? This is actually for the toxic slurry. Instead of wastewater, we're for the first time making toxic slurry. And this toxic slurry, you could send it, of course, into the water, but then that's a huge pollution, as you can see. So it's a lot better to transform it, but it does require this filter media, which is why I said we needed this research. And it will create also a bit of slag. And actually, I said 72. I don't remember if, I put a belt level 1 here, so I could potentially get in trouble, but the reality is I won't, because this is 108 and we're definitely not making 108. We're gonna make 9 plus 9, 18. So that's why this hasn't been a problem, but just in case, I'm going to put it at level 2. So yes, we are going to treat the toxic slurry, which is coming from those 2 settling tanks. They're going to transform the uranium ore crushed with a bit of acid into yellow cake and toxic slurry. So indeed, the uranium over here actually needs to go first into those crushers to be crushed. Now we're, as I said, bringing 60 per minute, but I don't need 60, so I only have 2 of those crushers. They're doing 18 each, and then it goes into this storage there. Right, and then the storage will send here where we're using 18 and 18, right? So that's why I have those 2 over here. We are also using a bit of acid. I'll show you in a second, how and where. And then, as I said, we're creating toxic slurry that goes here. We have 1 fluid storage over here just to be able to have a notification if that gets empty, so I can fix it. And then all of the yellow cake goes into the storage. For now, I don't actually have a lot, as you can see. But it's still enough because this is making 9 and 9, so 18, and then each of these is using 4.5, and we have 4, so that's also 18. Now here in those enrichment plants, we're gonna need also hydrogen fluoride. That's what's coming from the other side. from this settling tank where we're taking rocks and acid to make this hydrogen fluoride and a bit of slag. And we're actually making 12 with just one of these, and we're only using, what is it, 3. So that's why this whole thing is already full and will be full, but that's okay. That just means this stopped, working most of the time. So this will use rocks, right? So the rocks is coming. And by the way, you can see this is basically a bit of a bus, right? I created a bit of a bus over here, and then we have all of the productions going there. So yeah, we're enriching, right? We're enriching, making unreached uranium at 4% and a bit of depleted uranium. So the actual, enriched uranium goes on this side. It actually goes all across, right? It's gonna go all across here, all the way to this one. So it basically goes on the bus. While on the other side, we have, the depleted uranium. It's again really not a lot. That will go into those two. Now we can also dump this into the ocean, but I want to try to keep it as much as possible. So, maybe what I'll even do in the future is put 2 more of these over here and, fill it more, because in the future we will use this to make something else, but we can't do it yet. So that's why I'm storing it. So yes, as I said, it goes all the way over here and it's gonna do something. It's gonna do what? It's going to do uranium rods, which is taking this enriched uranium and a bit of steel to make it. So that's why we have a steel deposit over here. Then it goes here and it goes all the way into the nuclear reactor. Now a nuclear reactor at level 1 is only using 0.5, but remember I can put it to level 3. At that point it will use basically 1.5, and then I have a second one, so that's 1.5 times 2, so that's 3. That's exactly the production over here. So this whole thing, is exactly what I need for those 2 over here. Now there is 2 other elements that we need to bring for this to work, which is sand and coal. We have those 2 resources over here, right, sand and coal. They are going into this mixer with a bit of gravel to make filter media. This filter media storage is stored over here, going all the way there and going into my wastewater treatment. And then last but not least, over here into the bus, we have 3 things. We have the rocks. Remember, we need rocks in a couple of places. We need rocks over here for the hydrogen fluoride, and also over here we're gonna need gravel, which is basically rocks that you crush into gravel, right? And then lastly, we need the sulfur, which goes into this one here with a bit of water from the bus to make some acid. And then the acid goes back onto the bus, in particular onto those 2 over here, settling tank. Right? And then with all of this, we're creating a bit of slag. We're creating slag in a couple of places. We can see it, on the bus. So we're creating slag on this one over here, and we're creating slag in the settling tank, the wastewater treatment, sorry. So yeah, that's how we are making basically those uranium rods. Those uranium rods then, as I said, are delivered in the middle here of those 2, and we're gonna use also a lot of water, so which is why we have the water obviously coming over here. But actually, to be honest, this water is not going to be the majority of the water that's used, or it's not even prioritized. What's prioritized is the water coming from this side, which is actually the water coming from here, which is actually the water made from those cooling towers. Because the reality is, while it may seem like you need a lot of water, like 96 for level 1, and so obviously 3 times this for level 3, and so 6 times this for all of this, which is more than 500 of water, I'm obviously not making 500 of water, right? I'm making a lot less. Because this whole thing is going to actually get back a lot of water that it uses, right? For every 96 steam, which is basically every 96 water that we are using, we're getting 72 back. So we're getting most of it back, and we just need to have the production to complement this, to get back to 96 basically. So that's what's going to be happening, right? We're going to use this water and uranium rod to make some steam and a bit of spent fuel. Now the spent fuel is going back this side to go into the storage. First I have it over here, and then it goes into the storage. Let me just check one thing. Yeah, I don't have pollution, that's fine. So yes, and then a lot of steam high. It does require also to make sure that you give some cooling. This is basically this one over here. This is water, just in case this overheats. You're going to send a lot of water to cool it down and sort of evacuate all of the steam there. But the reality is most of the time what you want to do is just give water on this pipe and that pipe into the normal, water that's going to be transformed into steam. So this steam is going to go all the way over here into these ones there. Now, as with everything, right, we have two. We have one on this side and one on that side. So that's what you can see over here, right? There's one pipe for this one here, and there's another pipe, which is this one, for the other one. All right, so we have the one on the left is at level 1, the one on the right is at level 2, basically. And then we're gonna have 6 lines like this. They're basically identical. It's 6 lines that are identical, 3 for this one and 3 for that one. Each of these lines is going to take 96 of steam high, right? So it's one level basically. And this is why I'm at level 1, because only one of these is built right now. This is going to transform into mechanical power and steam low. And by the way, these are similar to our electric facility, except they are level 2. Right? It is not the basic one, it is actually the level 2. So instead of taking 24, it's taking 48. Similarly over here, right, instead of 24, it's taking 48. And last but not least, over here, the power generator large, instead of taking 3 and transforming into 2, we're taking 18 and transforming into 15. So that's pretty good, right? And it's also on the maintenance level 1, so I really like this. So that's what's happening over here, right? We have 48 and 48. The steam is coming this side. Then we have low pressure steam that's being made and goes into those 2 low pressure turbines to make a bit more mechanical power, and it creates steam depleted, which goes into this pipe there, all the way at level 0 there, to go into this one here, and then go into those 2. So that's what's happening there. Now I am realizing that I think I made a mistake here. One pipe is not going to be enough, right? We're talking about 96 times 6. That's going to be almost 500. So this pipe is not going to work when I want all of these to work. So I think what we're going to need is basically to have, how are we going to do this? So I think what we're going to do is like this. I'm going to take another pipe. I'm going to bring it to level 2. Bring it something like this, and then we can do something like this. Should be fine. Okay, so the bit of surplus can then go to the end for the last 2. This one is 96 times 4, that's enough, with 1 belt, so that's working. In those ones, you don't put a flywheel because you cannot stop. These things cannot stop. There is no stop and go with a nuclear reaction. When you start it, you continue. You don't stop. So that's why you also have to be a bit careful. Right? But if you follow this method, you won't have any problem. Now I think we have a bit more resource. So let's do one more line. Those cost again quite a lot. Like just this line, if we look at how much it is, we're talking about almost 300 of purple one and 360 of electronics. So yeah, that's a big one. But yeah, we're gonna put a second one so that now we will be able to increase this to level 2. So now it's obviously taking more water to create more steam. But yeah, go for it. You're almost there. It's gonna take a minute for the steam to be created anyway, so it's fine. And that's why you can see we are taking a second. My workers are a bit low also, by the way. But yeah, we can see that now with both of these, because each of these, remember, is 15. So we're talking about 30 and 30, that's 60. That's basically more than this whole thing over there working at full, right? So we're gonna soon pause all of this, which will definitely help with my coal consumption, because this was consuming quite a bit of coal, right? I mean, basically 30 times 5 per minute, and which is also good because look at this one. The coal mine, the first coal mine, is basically empty. There's only 10% left, which is like 30 years or so. Now, it's not a big problem because there's another one over here, right, that's completely full. So we still have a lot of time, but still, it's going to be good to sort of slow down on my coal consumption. Because remember, we're barely using any coal. I mean, the only coal we're using is there, which is 3 coal to make 36 filter media, and we're only using 2 media for 108. No, sorry, we're only using 6 for 108, but we're only creating 18 per minute at full speed. So we're not gonna use, basically this is zero coal. Let's say it. Yeah, over here this seems to be working fine. There's no problem, not too much steam. You know, you can see the green bar here. It's exactly what it should be. If you see this green going to the red, then you have a problem. It means you're basically not using enough steam. You're making more steam than what you're creating. And yeah, if I want, I could also make the next one, but I think for now we'll be fine. What I do want to make sure is that this becomes, you know, priority number 1 for electricity, and then it's only when we need more then this can start. We're gonna do that in a second. Of course, don't hesitate to tell me if you have any questions on nuclear. This is getting a bit into the end game, but as you can see, it's not that complex. You know, it's not that many buildings, it's not that many production chains, as long as you have everything ready. Now that we have a better, longer term source of energy, we can start moving on. There is a couple of things, you know, over here that I didn't do. For example, we still haven't moved to advanced smelting. We didn't do the household appliances, but I do want to continue moving forward, and in particular get, you know, into gold smelting, computers, very soon into microchips and electronics level 3. Because as you can see also over here, this is basically blocked by this research, right? We need this prerequisite, which is to build 20 of those electronics level 3 before we can move on. So it's similar to over here, we needed to build 20 electronics level 2, now it's already going to be electronics level 3 soon. There's also a couple of other things over here, like next level conveyor belts that can transport 450, larger storage and cargo depot, and we're also starting to make progress with medical supplies. I know we still haven't done medical supply level 1, but we can unlock medical supply level 2, and then we're going to get to medical supply level 3, which requires the poppy seeds, which I have actually already found, so that's great. So yes, I think that's a good time to end this episode. We have nuclear energy that is live. It's only the first level of nuclear, we're definitely going to get into more complex, and we can move, as I said in the next episode, into new things. We're going to definitely want to have those big new trucks. We probably also need to start finally making a hospital, and we need to start getting into gold. Smash like button, and I hope to see you next time.